Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Heavenly Parent Holy Community Oceania Morning Hundoke. And today we have Rev Kenji Watanabe presenting on this Friday, the 17th of July 2026, or the 4th of June in the 14th year of Chongyol. So thank you all for coming, and let's begin with a bow to our true parents of heaven, earth, and humankind. Chanti Jumpungyinge Kyombe. Paro. And let's recite our family pledge, both in Korean and English.
가전맨세 2. 천일국 주인 우리 가족은 참 사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 참 부모님을 모시어 천주의 대표적 가정이 되며 중심적 가정이 되어 가정에서는 효자, 국가에서는 춘신, 세계에서는 성인, 천주에서는 선자의 가정의 도리를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다.
Family pledge number 2. Our family, the owner of Chongyol, pledges to represent and become central to heaven and earth by attending the Heavenly Parent and True Parents. We pledge to perfect the dutiful family way of filial sons and daughters in our family, patriots in our nation, saints in the world, and divine sons and daughters in heaven and on earth by centering on true love.
Thank you. And I'd like to share Mother's prayer that gave on the 1st of February 2020. Heavenly Parent, you have endured and waited so long. As there are now blessed couples that have been inducted as Chombo, it means there are blessed families that have completed the Chombo requirements whom you can embrace and govern directly. As true parents, we offer you our deepest gratitude and all glory for your divine protection that will allow the birth of many more blessed families that can stand strong and show an example in front of their nation and world as Chongyol citizens. Heavenly Parent, through this holy wine ceremony conducted in unity with true parents, your children who have fulfilled their responsibilities as blessed families will be able to join the ranks of filial children and loyal patriots. Children you can be proud of and embrace both on earth and in the eternal spiritual realm beyond. Thank you for permitting and giving your children this opportunity. Heavenly Parent, thank you for opening the way that will allow your children to move beyond their family and tribe and to advance to the world. They are the Chongyol Chombo citizens. Heavenly Parent, please remember your children of whom you are proud. May you guide and protect all the blessed families inducted as Chombo so that they may all advance toward and soon bring about the day when you can realize throughout the world your dream and hope, which you have yearned to realize for so long. This will be the day on which you can say everything has been accomplished. It is all fulfilled. Thank you. I pray and proclaim all these things in true parents' name, Arju. Thank you. And before we welcome up Reverend Kenji, I'd like to share a praise song. So please enjoy.
Our beloved true mother, we are here, your beloved children of the Philippines, the second daughter nation. We desperately miss you and long for you, Omonim. No matter what it takes, we will be here for you until the very end. Omonim, Salamhamnida. Please receive the love of your children from the Philippines through this song full of hope and longing. Omonim, Kamsahamnida.
전시원에서 모든 마음 부모님께 드리리 부모님을 향한 그리움 하늘 높이 올려드리리 이곳 전시원에서 모든 마음 부모님
Thank you. And let's welcome up Rev Kenji as he shares this morning. Thank you.
Yeah, so good morning, brothers and sisters. Let me set up first. Just a moment, please. All right. So good morning once again, all beloved brothers and sisters of Oceania region. Today is the fourth day of the 6 months, and already 17th of the July. Wow, time flies. Actually, just I am in charge of the once a week, but as it were, we do almost every day. Anyway, let's begin. Today's topic is chapter 11 from the God's Will and the World. The title is The Significance of the July Fast, 1973. And I divided this speech into the three parts, and today's one is the part 1. And interestingly, in the Japanese version, probably which is the a direct translation from the Korean, got the different title, which is regarding the day of the celebration of the victory. So then in English, it's translated into this significance of July 1st, 1973. So 53 years ago, 1st of July, through parents made a historical day for the turning point for the providence to advance. So let's begin. So section 1, out of the section, the five sections, a message for this day. Today is July 1st, 1973. This is also a holiday, Sunday. So it is also a most significant day for us as members of the Unification Church. So this morning at 5 a.m. in the main house. So by the way, this speech was given the Berry Town, the New York, America. So this morning at 5 o'clock a.m. In the main house, there was an assembly of the blessed couples and the leaders of our church from many nations and states. So we had a significant ceremony and a message was given to them. So I would like to give you the same message on the Sunday service, I think. So my subject today concerns July 1st, 1973. In relation to the current 3-year period in America, the years 1972, 1973, and 1974 are the last part of the second 7-year period in the second 21-year course of our dispensation. The first 21-year course of the dispensation was the personal course. So most of this speech refers to the second 21-year course, the course of the parents, which overlapped the first course. So this is a very rare, very important, and vital opportunity for us that I have come to America so that we can work together here in this country. You and I started this 3-year course together in America in 1973. In order to make this 3-year course possible, I already went through the first 7-year course from the 1961 to 1967. And I also passed through the first 4 years of the second 7-year course, 1968 through 1971. So we learn from the principle that history repeats itself in expanded versions. Because Jesus did not complete his mission 2,000 years ago, the pattern of history has to be repeated in our time. And we have to pay indemnity for people's failure at the time of Jesus. So we are in a position to consummate his mission. From the principle, so we have learned that the Messiah cannot come through an independent nation, nor can he come in a glorious way. Jesus came to accomplish the dispensation standing upon the foundation of Jewish faith and the nation of Israel. However, Jewish people failed him, and the nation did not accept him. Jesus did not complete his mission, and the nation of Israel and the Jewish people were dispersed. Therefore, the base upon which the mission of Jesus had to operate was lost. God has since prepared a similar foundation upon which the Messiah can come and complete the mission of Jesus. God has been seeking a similar nation, a nation of suffering, for the base of the second coming of the Messiah. So, Paul's speech in those days at the time was still to resonate with the circumstance we are facing today, isn't it? Now, section 2, Korea as chosen nation. For this reason, Korea was chosen. The geography of both Israel and Korea and the characteristics of their people are similar. Korean history has been repeating the pattern of the struggle between Cain and Abel in various forms. Korea has been attacked throughout history by foreign powers, but never attacked another nation herself. She has struggled both internally and externally. Korea also had the fate of being the annexed and subjugated by Japan for 36 years. Those 36 years of tribulation endured by the Korean people were symbolically equivalent to the 400 years of Christian tribulation in Rome, and to the 400 years prior to the coming of Jesus, when internal and external confusion were great. In order to compensate and pay indemnity for this period, Korea had to pass through 40 years of tribulation. As you know, Japan was a nation which worshipped a female god. It is also very significant in the light of the dispensation that Japan has made such remarkable advancement in the last 120 years. Japan has moved up to the top of the world as a first-class nation in 120 years' time. However, while Japan was making external advancement to the top of the world, Korea was developing internally or spiritually. First, Korea embraced 80 years of Christian history, then 40 years of tribulation, altogether going through a course of 120 years. Ever since struggle of Cain and Abel, when Cain slew Abel, history has been dominated by Cain. In this situation, the nation of Japan was in Cain's position, and the nation of Korea was in Abel's. Hence, Japan's subjugation of Korea for 40 years in terms of the Cain and Abel positions was fitting. When a new history began in the light of dispensation, the following 40 years is the period in which able subjugate and controls came in reverse. In 1960, Holy Wedding marked the beginning of another 40-year period. God plans to especially make the 20 years between 1960 and 1980s a period of total advancement for the heavenly dispensation. So 20 years between 1960 and 1980 is symbolically equivalent to the 2,000 years of history since Jesus. So it is also symbolically equivalent to the total of 6,000 years of foreign history. The history of God has been divided into three distinct parts. So this is equivalent to formation, growth, and perfection through three stages: 2,000-year period Old Testament, pre-Old Testament, 2,000 years Old Testament, and 2,000 years since Jesus. So this is a total of 6,000 years. It is God's plan to have this vertical history of 6,000 years restored horizontally in 20 years by the payment of indemnity. Therefore, in these 20 years, every phenomenon which occurred in the 6,000 years of history must recur, either symbolically or directly. Therefore, this 20 years is a time of unprecedented confusion and chaos, and the situation will develop in a totally unexpected fashion. So in the time of the Old Testament, people offered sacrifices through animals. During the New Testament, man, the Son, became the sacrifice. Then, in the last part of the history, consummation or the true parents have to be in the position to pay indemnity. The beginning point of the new history is the appearance of true parents. The history of the Unification Church also began at that point. The entire vertical history now is to be enacted horizontally at one time, to be indemnified and then restored. So that's the end of the section 3, section 2. And now the father talking about age of the true parents. The first part of the God's history stressed denying the material because the things of the creation were sacrificed at that time. Therefore, in the first years of our movement, we emphasized the denial of the material things. Later, in the second stage, we emphasize the sacrifice of man and the Son, or denial of self. The final stage is the time for the parents to pay the indemnity. Therefore, the true parents are in the position to go through untold tribulation in that final period. The history of restoration can be consummated only by having the true parents pay the entire debt. So I have to be in a position to negate, to deny everything. So when I am in the sight of God, I am in the position of the plus or subject, and my family is in the position of minus and or object. So my family has to suffer as an object to me. The object has to pay indemnity too. So very sorry to hear that from the father's mouth directly, but that's the evidence that we have seen in history past the decades. The nation which receives the true parents has to be in the position of and has to go through untold tribulation. That nation and all her people must be in a position of despair. Then the new hope of truth will appear to the people and the nation together. So with a new acceptance of the truth, there will be new hope, new life, and a new history. With the liberation of Korea in 1945, hope came to that suffering land. So this year, as far as Japan was concerned, was a day of doom. But as far as Korea was concerned, this year marked a day of hope. So in Korean, I think the day is celebrated as not only as an independent day, but it is called the celebration of the restoration of the light or something like that. Let me keep reading. Therefore, it was my mission at that time to connect that new day of hope to the family, the people, and the nation. In such a way, God can restore his people, his nation, his tribe, and his family. So this is a promising situation in which Korea is placed in the position of the restored Israel. Since Israel was the nation where Jesus lost hope, when the Lord of Second Advent comes, he will gain hope and restore his nation to order. So Jesus died because the people did not have faith in him. The way we regain that lost foundation is by having hope and faith, by accepting the Lord of the Second Advent. So then we are the living witnesses of what happened since the Korean people didn't accept, especially Korean Christian couldn't accept the true Father as the Christ of Second Advent 1945, and history of the indemnity to pay repeated horizontally. Now, section 4, Christians unable to unite. In Korea, it was very important for the Christian population to actually serve as the base on which to accept the Lord. At that particular time, every nation of great power was in a position to protect this little country of Korea. Therefore, I intended to start my public ministry by developing good relations with the people in the highest positions of power. But within the most important groups in Korea at the time, there were several Christian leaders who violently persecuted us, and I was thus unable to carry out my initial plan. I am giving you a message that was never given and will not be given again. So this is a unique message to you today. So I would like to ask your fullest attention. Those Christian leaders on the highest level not only influenced other people in the highest level, but they also influenced the entire Christian population in Korea. God's preparation was done in 3 years' time, 1945, 1946, and 1947, until South Korea's independence in 1948. I was, on the surface, just one man, just an individual. Nobody in Korea knew of my vast historical significance. Since I knew the cause of Jesus' frustration, I developed my tactic to perfection. I developed such a wise tactic so that I would not repeat the fate of Jesus. At the same time, God knew that my path was not going to be smooth, so he prepared in his own way, many spiritual groups who would testify to me. It was amazing to know how precisely God planned everything according to the principle. But no matter how much God prepared the path of ministry for the Lord of Second Advent, there was a certain period in which man had to fulfill his condition of faith, just as in the time of Jesus. The Christians and the Korean government rejected me in disbelief. The same failure that happened in the time of Jesus. So therefore, I could not go through the original course. I had to alter my direction. So I remember some story about the Christian was the head of the leaders. I think the president of the Korea, independent Korea, the wife was the Christian, and also the top university, the president was the Christian, etc. Anyway, all details I need to check. But so basically, God prepared the whole environment for the Christ of Second Advent at the time. But all the turned to oppose the Christ of Second Advent because of their own foreign nature, etc. At the time of Jesus, the Jewish religious leaders as well as the government used their power to persecute Jesus, and they had him crucified. So when this history was repeated in Korea, the Korean Christian population used its power to destroy my life. I had to face the persecution of the Christian population. When this division occurred, the nation had to be divided. Seen from this perspective, the communist invasion was inevitable. Externally, I had to go up against the God-denying power of communism. God had prepared Christianity to accept the coming Lord. So when it failed to fulfill this mission, the Korean Christian churches were doomed to new persecution. So communism became strong and aggressive and began sweeping into the Christian community. The communist march has become stronger and stronger for the purpose of destroying not only democracy, but ultimately the Christian churches and Christianity. Meanwhile, even as communism advanced against Christianity, the Unification Church has been growing inwardly and is now rapidly advancing. So we are growing in strength parallel to the communist aggression. So we are in a position to restore both the democratic ranks and the Christian churches. So we have to organize sufficient strength to stand against communism. So this is a final section, section 5, the Holy Wedding. In 1960, 14 years after I began my public ministry, I performed the Holy Wedding, the marriage of the Lamb that the Bible predicted. In 1960, therefore, the first heavenly family was established upon the earth. That was equivalent in significance to the very moment of the crucifixion of Jesus. Christians as well as the government together tried to destroy us in 1960, and untold phenomena occurred. Until just before the day of my holy wedding, there was the tremendous persecution. In particular, 12 members who were the satanic imitation of the 12 disciples of the Jesus banded together and tried to destroy me, even at the very moment of our holy wedding. There were nothing but enemies in front of me at that time. Therefore, there were many people who had fallen from the church and who had become enemies. The highest peak of this time came on April 11th, 1960. This was a life or death matter. Under very adverse conditions, I won the first and the most important victory. I consummated the heavenly plan. This was the most historical day in the history of God. So this was a day that the heavenly Son came to earth, restored the base, and welcomed the first bride of the heaven. Therefore, on this day, God has had his first true base on the earth from which he could continue to expand. So he had his one focal point. So Jesus died on the cross without having restored the bride. Therefore, the base was not formed at the time on the earth. So this was restored in 1960 by having one heavenly bride restored on the earth. After his resurrection, Jesus restored a spiritual foundation in 40 days. However, in our movement, I am in the position to restore both spiritual and physical realms. Therefore, the history of the Unification Church began at the time of the Holy Wedding. From that day, the new ministry was begun, and God now has his true base on the earth. So now he can open up his heart and welcome the children into his heart. So that's the significance of the Holy Wedding, and we completely understand, agree that the true mothers, the initiative as putting the day of the anniversary of the Holy Wedding as the day of the celebration, combining the Heavenly Parents' Day, True Parents, and all together. Such significance, the day they has. The vertical history, the formal history, has to be restored in a horizontal way. Therefore, this became the new beginning of the entire restoration history and is symbolically equivalent in importance to the time of Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve never gained the opportunity to be blessed, but this is the time of the blessing of the true heavenly couple. So at the time of Jesus, God had brought restoration up to the formation stage. Through the New Testament age, God restored the growth stage. However, the perfection period was still in the domain of Satan. Therefore, so we must expect difficulties, which can be divided into three separate parts, 21 years of 3 7-year periods consisting of a hard struggle. So these 3 7-year periods will end in 1981, 21 years. In these 21 years, we are restoring the entire fallen history in a horizontal way. At the time of Moses, God directly intervened in human affairs. This is almost inconsistent with the principle because Old Testament history was only the formation period, yet God directly intervened. Why did God do this? Because he had to show his pattern to Moses so that Jesus could follow Moses' pattern. In turn, Jesus' pattern is the pattern we have to follow. Do you understand? So this horizontal restoration, the first 7 years is the equivalent to the first 7 years of the formation stage in which God directly intervened to show himself. So by the same token, the leader has to show the pattern to his followers through his own example. So this is the meaning of the first 7-year course. In this first 7 years, I had to do away with all satanic conditions, any situation that Satan could invade through. So in other words, I had to eliminate all possibility of satanic persecution. So I am paying the indemnity for Jesus' followers, setting the example so that all people of the world in this time can follow and be restored. Also, my ministry is on the worldwide scale to make the link between all people and all nations. So this was done through several levels of the blessing. So in the blessing, we go beyond the boundary of nation, race, and creed, and we are able to be purely united as children of God. By 1967, this base was formed and completely consummated. The blessing was conducted in several stages, the most recent one being the 777 couple blessing. All nations and races were included in the number the 777. So we went beyond the nation-based and well into the worldwide scale. In other words, I set the foundation for all races to be victorious because they all sent representatives to participate in the holy blessing. So anyway, it comes to a little bit long, and let me conclude showing the key takeaways of the readings this morning. So July 1st, 1973 marks a pivotal point in the dispensation. The closing years of the second 21-year course and the 3-year course began in America in 1972. That's happened today 53 years ago, and a similar pattern we see centering on True Mother. So history repeats in expanded form because Jesus' mission was left unfinished. Its pattern must be restored today and the indemnity for the failure paid. So Korea was chosen to receive the Lord, a nation whose geography, history, and suffering mirror Israel's standing in Abel's position against Cain. Fourth point, the 20 years from 1960 to 1980 condense all of the providence, symbolically equal to the 2,000 years since Jesus and the full 6,000 years of history. Fifth point, this is the age of true parents, and the nation that receives them must pass through the untold tribulation to restore God's family, tribe, and nation. And it seems the centering on the only begotten daughter, we see the kind of same pattern today. Sixth point, Korean Christians, like the leaders who opposed Jesus, failed to unite and instead persecuted the ministry, repeating history's pattern of rejection. So in 1960, the Holy Wedding established the first heavenly family on earth. By 1967, the blessing reached a worldwide scale through 777 couples opening the restoration to all races. And only one 777 couple in Oceania region is the Mr. and Mrs. Allies couple. And thank you for the contribution to the Providence for Oceania for a long time. Anyway, but that's the conclusion of today's morning Fundok. And thank you very much for your kind attention. And God bless you for the, please have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Reverend Kenji, for sharing with us. And today is Friday, and we still can have our breakout room. We can
Okay.
still do maybe roughly 10 minutes or so. So I'll just create the rooms, and so just join the room you wish. As usual, the first is witnesses, second peace and security, and the third for PCLC. So please join. Okay. Pause the recording. Yeah. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had an opportunity to share. And it's time now for us to offer our unison prayer. So I'll just bring up that screen. There it is. Okay. Let's pray together. Thank you. Jew. Thank you, everyone. Thank you again, Reverend Kenji, for sharing, and I hope everyone has a great day and see you all again tomorrow. Okay. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, you're in the Solomon Islands, Greg.
This is Tom, one of our first members, Barry Knowles' spiritual son
Wow.
in Vanuatu.
It's
Tom.
Vanuatu, right?
Barry.
Bye.
Barry, is it? No, Tom.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Okay.
See you all. Bye.